Hello, fellow conspiracy theorists across time and space. This is Joseph Armstrong. So there's been a lot of talk about the symbol that's on the front of the New King James Bible, and in this video we're going to talk about a couple of things that I've thought of and a few things that I found out about this symbol. Let's get into the video. So there's the symbol on the front of a New King James Bible. This is from the New King James, the Bridge Bible by David W. Daniels. I've owned New King James Bibles with this logo on them. I've owned them without the logo, which I guess technically it's not a logo, it's a symbol, because logo means word, and it's not a word. So a little while ago we were reading through Ken Johnson's Ancient Post-Flood History. You guys can pick this book up on Amazon. It's a print on demand. Very good. So we're reading along, and we get to page 92, my wife and I, when we were reading through it. And you see the same, not the very same, but pretty close, the same symbol. The only difference here is that it has a circle running through the entire thing. This is going to, I think, require a little bit more research, because I don't know why that circle is there sometimes and sometimes not. It seems like when you're going to see it in like rock bands and stuff like that, usually you'll see it with the circle running all the way around it too. The New King James Bible, obviously, when you saw that one cover, did not include it on there. Usually that's a symbol for the Trinity. The Aquarian conspiracy, that doesn't show it with a circle running through it. And if I remember correctly, James White's book, The Forgotten Trinity, that has the circle running through it. Here's an interesting piece of information about that symbol that I've never heard a King James Bible believer talk about. It seems like Ken Johnson is more or less a King James Bible believer. He seems to avoid things like the New American Standard and the NIV and stuff like this. And here's what he says under the heading Symbols. Quote, "The triquetra," which is that symbol right there, "is a very ancient symbol." Now, let me stop right there. I've learned recently that a lot of symbols, such as animals, basic geometric shapes, emblems, things like this, a lot of the time they can have a more solidly biblical interpretation, and other times a more perverted satanic interpretation. For instance, the pelican. A great example. The pelican opens her chest up in this symbol to, as well as a few other types of birds do this as well, to feed their young. First, many people say in the 1600s, you guys can see Cutting Edge, Lodged in the Groves by Dennis Palmu. He talks about that and gives an inspiring poem from, I believe it was the 1600s, about the symbol of the pelican. There's that righteous, Christian, biblical interpretation of the emblem, and then there's the perverted interpretation of the emblem when you get into the vampiric cults. So it seems like a lot of symbols are not just, oh look at that, that is satanic. A lot of the time it can be two different ways. It seems like this is somewhat the case with the triquetra. The triquetra is a very ancient symbol. Recently it has been used as a symbol for Wicca, and when you read Ken Johnson's other book about the ancient origins of modern holidays, you'll find out that there were a lot of holidays that started out biblically and then got changed into something more perverted. Excellent example, Halloween. Apparently Halloween was an ancient recognition of the advent of Noah's flood. And he talks about how over the centuries, paganism kind of adopted that as a festival of death. Makes sense. And that's something that not a lot of Christians have ever covered or discussed. That's why I appreciate a lot of what Ken Johnson does. I keep getting distracted, but I want to try to give you guys a little bit of context and awareness of the potential behind this symbol being something that was used more generally and then perverted into something else more Wiccan, more satanic. Not that it started out as a Wiccan symbol. It may have ancient Wiccan roots, but from what I'm going to show you in this book, it doesn't seem like that's where it started. Continuing on. Recently, it has been used as a symbol for Wicca. In the early days of Celtic Christianity, it was a symbol for the Trinity. Now, I would also like to know what Celtic Christianity this is. Is this Roman Catholicism sending missionaries to the Celts, or is this a Christianity that was more contemporary with the Apostle Paul? And I totally recommend getting a copy of In Awe of Thy Word for a very good early Christian history in Britain. It did not get there at the time of Augustine. It was there long before that, and it's a fascinating history. Back to the quote. We still see it used on the cover of some New King James Bibles. Before the start of Christianity, it had several pagan and secular meanings. In ancient times, it was a symbol that all races were brothers through Noah and his 3 sons. Now, that's very interesting, especially when you have the circle. You think, okay, Noah, I get that. And then you have the 3 leaves of the triquetra: Ham, Shem, Japheth. In ancient times, it was a symbol that all races were brothers through Noah and his 3 sons. This is why I chose the triquetra as a chapter divider. And of course that makes sense because of the context of his book, where he's talking about ancient post-flood history. Another example of ancient symbols being perverted in modern times is the rainbow. Recently, the rainbow has been used as a symbol of the New Age movement. It's not a gay symbol. Remember the hidden dangers of the rainbow? In ancient times, it was a symbol for the Noahic covenant. See chapter 4 for information on the 7 Noahide laws, which of course were expanded to include kill Christians later on, which was not good. Remember, all things go back to God. As Christians, we should take back the ancient symbols and use them to teach truth. When I look at the triquetra, I think, okay, I can see where this has Trinitarian undertones, and I can also see where the Wiccans may want to use this. And I've read some of the Gail Riplinger stuff and seen different things on YouTube and stuff like that regarding this symbol and where it shows up in like Hermeticism, ancient Egypt, stuff like that. But just reading Ken Johnson's book and thinking, okay, if it stands as a symbol of all races being one, I can totally see that as a Christian teaching against racism. I see that. But how would that carry over into a more satanic symbol? When I was thinking about it, I was like, oh, New World Order. All these races being one. That makes sense. I know that there is a lot of infiltration of Christianity and of the church in general. There are many people masquerading as Christians. The Bible teaches us that. You guys can read Bill Schneeblin's stuff talking about how there's like the deep fakes and things like this. I get that. But when I see that symbol on the front of the New King James Bible, I have to remember we have to remember that there are innocent Christians who are just using it and saying, oh, it's a symbol for the Trinity. Why not have that on the Bible? So there doesn't necessarily have to be an evil motive in just using a symbol. And it may have some satanic connections through Wicca and stuff like that. But that doesn't guarantee that there are these devils from Wicca coming over to the New King James Bible just because it has a symbol on the cover. Question of the day. What's your opinion of the triquetra? Is it an ancient symbol of good? Is it an ancient symbol of evil? Is there a spot where you've seen it in your life that just makes it stand out and you're just like, oh, I know what this is, and I remember seeing it here, and ever since then I was just like, wow. Looking forward to seeing your answers to that question down below. Hey guys, thanks for watching this episode of the Bible Version Conspiracy. If you guys are new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below for more videos like this. If you liked it, hit the like button as well. That'll be encouraging to me as I make these videos. And if you'll help us by sharing the videos on your social media outlets, it'll help our ministry grow. Any notes for this episode I'm going to put down in the description box as always. Anything else I might have forgotten, I'll also put down there. In advance, I appreciate your response to the question of the day. And if you have any questions for me or comments or anything to add, just go ahead and post it down in the comment section. I'll be checking all of those out and responding. Thanks again for sticking around to the end of the video. And as always, remember to read your King James Bible like the devil's after it, because it truly is a Bible version conspiracy. Thanks again for watching, and we will talk soon.